Progress.
Good evening and welcome to the Human Rights Commission regular meeting. Today is Monday, January 12, 2026. It is 5:03, and we're going to get this meeting started, so I'm calling the meeting to order. Do we have quorum, Jeremy?
Yes, there is a quorum.
Yep, we have quorum of commissioners. Welcome, everyone. So for item number 3, I would like to welcome everyone back from our holiday vacation time off with family and friends. I hope everyone had a really good time and a healthy time and a happy time. As we look forward to 2026, we have a lot of very important and strong projects on our calendar. So I really hope that everyone engages with what is ahead of us in 2026. And if you need a quick refresher of what we discussed in the meeting of December, we're going to talk about that when we approve minutes of our meeting from December. I also would like to remind everyone in the commission that items that are not included in the agenda cannot be discussed or voted on. And I would like for everyone to start getting a hold of how to put items in the agenda when we get to commission comments, so that we can agendize the comments and have a discussion and possibly a vote. Got to get into that rhythm of things. It's very, very important to me and to the future of the commission. With that said, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is the acceptance of the agenda. And you all have had the opportunity to look at the agenda. If anyone has any questions, comments, or any kind of motions to amend the agenda, this will be the time to speak.
Yeah, I think we might need to update item 5 where it says presentations none, because we do have presentations today.
Actually, I want to clarify that. We can't do it as a if we put it as a presentation, then we can't have the back and forth dialogue and discussion. So by adding it as a discussion item, then we can have sort of a deeper conversation with the police department if the commission desires.
Understood, that's great, thank you.
And this is why it's important to understand why things go into the agenda or don't go into the agenda, which is fantastic. Thank you, Jeremy, for that clarification. So it's really not a presentation, it'll be a discussion item, right?
Correct.
Following the understanding of the program. Great. So we're going to move on to item number 6, which is the approval of the minutes of our meeting that was held on December the 8th, 2025. At this particular time, I would like to have a motion to accept the minutes, or a question, or anything that commissioners would like to bring up with relation to the meeting minutes on December 8th, 2025.
I move to accept the minutes as
We
presented.
have a motion to accept the minutes,
Seconded.
a second by Commissioner Rinke. Any further discussion or comments? Everyone in favor to accepting it, say hi, raise your hand.
Aye.
Wonderful. I think we have consensus on that. So that was item number 6. We're moving very quickly, very swiftly through this agenda. Item number 7 is public comments. Do we have any public comment submissions?
There are no public comments.
Okay, no one on Zoom? Kendall or Matthew, SP?
Matthew's our IT tech that's helping us out.
Okay, wonderful. Having heard no public comment submissions, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is item on reports. We have no reports on item number 8. Wonderful. So we're going to move on to item number 9, which is discussion items. And for item 9A, we would like to welcome the Palm Springs Police Department Sergeant Frank Guarino and Lieutenant Hutchinson, who will be telling us about the drone program and use of AI in the police department. Gentlemen, please join us.
Chairman, I thought I would start out.
Oh, Chief, we have the Chief of Police, Andy Mills.
Just to tee it up so that these guys can take over.
Please,
Introduce
join
them.
us.
My best.
And please join us to the table, and now the cameras and the sound system should pick up everyone. And Chief, before you start, maybe you can introduce who's in your team joining us here.
So, first of all, thank you for inviting us, and this is a great opportunity to discuss with you some of the important things that are happening in policing, but specifically here in Palm Springs. We really feel like we've hit the cutting edge of this type of policing, but we want to make sure we do it correctly. And so we want to put the protections in place to ensure that as we move forward, that it's something that our community can be proud of, and that it's within the traditions of this community. And so we've been pretty thoughtful about that and had lots of discussion to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And as you can recall, when this went to full council, Councilmember Holstedge as well as Councilmember Gardner and others, chimed in that they wanted to make sure that there were certain protections in the ordinance itself. And so we feel like we've accomplished that, although there's always room for growth and feedback and direction from you as we might get it. With me today is brand new crusted Captain Gus Ariza, and
Congratulations, Captain.
we're very proud of Gus and the accomplishments he's made. Also is Lieutenant William Hutchison, also known as Hutch. And just a little bit of a background on this. Hutch came to me with this idea. We had got a grant for $4.5 million from the state to deal with the retail theft, and we had it all set up. And then Hutch kind of came in and started helping us pivot towards more of a technological approach, mainly because as we were getting into the grant, a lot of the grant people that we're going to give money to didn't really want the money, which is kind of interesting. We wanted for rehabilitation, and maybe 2 people went.
I think we had 3 or 4. One went, one, I say, lasted 4 days and then went home. Yep.
So, and then we wanted to give a lot of money out to businesses to put in cameras and all that kind of thing, and that really wasn't met with a great deal of interest either. And so Hutch came and started saying, what we really need is we can do this ourselves, we can put cameras in, we can bubble, and it kind of evolved from there. And I was resistant to my chagrin, and Hutch really pushed this forward, and he's been the architect and the brain behind it. He's a great technologist, and very proud of what you've accomplished. And then with him is Frank Garino. Frank was actually the grant manager.
Yay.
He's a sergeant with us. And Frank has just jumped in with both feet to really help out Lieutenant Hutchison and get this technology in place. It's been a huge, heavy lift, and they've done a fantastic job with it. And our direction the entire time has been to keep an eye, very close eye, on civil rights and privacy issues. And so they have done that. And again, those discussions have been many and lengthy, and I think that we've struck a good balance for our community. And I think that some of it, to be honest, other cities, when I listen to their talking about, police are going to track us, going from our girlfriend's house to our. If we had enough people to do that, that'd be nice. We don't, and nor do we have the inclination or desire. But having said that, there's always the potential for abuse, and that's why we have built the policies that we have. But when we look at terrorism, it's kind of like civil rights abuses. We look at the possibility versus the probability, and so we want to make sure we're clear about that we don't see a terrorist behind every tree. And same thing, we don't want to see a problem behind every bush. So, Lieutenant.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us, and we're really excited. We're going to give you a 30,000-foot overview really of this, and at some point hope to have you over to actually see the center, actually see it in action and what we're really doing with it, and see the wins and the successes. But to the chief's point here, there's a lot it's not about putting a couple computers in and you know, a couple drones on the buildings and then flying these things. We really have taken into consideration the civil liberties and the protections and, you know, what do we need to do as an agency to make sure that the technology that we're using is in fact protected as we say it is, and the data that is in it, and the right people have access to it, and that are trained, that are qualified, that understand the legal ramifications, et cetera. So all of that has gone into our policy, our training programs, and this entire, the development of this program overall. So the Coachella Valley Real-Time Intelligence Center. We call it Coachella Valley Real-Time Intelligence Center because the chief said we really need to look at this on a regional approach rather than just a Palm Springs approach. And to be able to do that, bringing in, what does the big picture look like in the entire region? Because it's not, Palm Springs crime isn't just committed, you know, crime isn't committed by just people who live in Palm Springs. Everybody comes from out of the area. We're a tourist destination, and because of that, you know, we have to pay attention to those coming into the community and what they're trying to do when they're here. And so people from Desert Hot Springs or Los Angeles or India, you name it. So all of us together will be working in this room and under the Coachella Valley Real-Time Intelligence Center at some point. Start this off here. Let me make sure this works. Where do I point this, Jeremy?
We have to get rid of the OK first.
Cool.
Your IT to the rescue here.
IT to the rescue. I hear them coming. Okay, well, we'll start with that. Okay, so what is the Real-Time Intelligence Center? So what police departments have done is they have looked at the existing technology. If you don't know, we have multiple databases, 20, 30 different databases that our investigators and our officers actually have to log into that are separate and disparate and siloed and tell different stories. And it becomes really challenging because each one of those systems provides different data sets to us. And what we have to do is we have to be able to make sense of that data that comes in. And so real-time intelligence centers were born out of the need to be more efficient and to provide more real-time information to the officers in the field so we could solve crimes faster, get on scenes quicker, apprehend people quicker, to tell a much better story, find a needle in a haystack. And so that's what we are doing here with this. We're taking all of those siloed data systems, we're bringing them in under one umbrella into one giant crime analysis system with the idea that I only have to search one time and then it's going to find that needle in a haystack and paint a picture for us. On top of that, we're using other sources, license plate readers, drones, and any other sources that might help us tell if there's somebody in our community that is wanted for a crime, or a stolen vehicle comes through, or we've got human traffickers that are wanted, or somebody wanted on a violent offense. And all of this information comes into us in real time. The alerts go off in this center. And at that point, we start looking for our citywide cameras. We start looking at the license plate readers. We start dispatching drones to look for those vehicles. And that's what a real-time crime center does in essence. We'll try the next. What we did is we prioritized the mission, right? And again, this mission is going to evolve. It's going to change as we start growing and we start learning, you know, our true capabilities, and as technology changes. But essentially, our mission that we've developed here is enhancing community safety through real-time data analysis and proactive policing. Exactly what I just got through talking about. And there are really these four prongs here that you can see. One is real-time intelligence, providing that immediate information to the officers in the field before they even get on scene. Proactive virtual policing. We look at our hotspot areas. I'm sure you've heard the chief talk about that. Where are our hotspots for crime, right? Do we do virtual patrols with that and provide that information to the officers? Investigative support. A crime comes in, a burglary comes in, and we need to start looking for any information on suspects or vehicles or people in the area. And then threat monitoring and community support. So the chief has been really big on threat assessment capabilities here for the police department. What do our dark web sources look like? What are potentials during large events here in this city? And so the real-time crime centers, those are the four priorities as of this moment and what it's going to be focused on. Next slide. Okay, there we go. These are the preliminary partners that we have and then some future possibilities, and we've shown this currently. Palm Springs PD and Cathedral City PD are the closest to this implementation. Cathedral City Police Department, where we're working on more cameras, and they have some drones up. And then Desert Hot Springs and Indio are on the radar. We're also going to be partnering with the tribe. They're going to be providing resources, and that's going to evolve. And then you can see through some integrations with CVAG. CV Link is looking at ways that we can provide better protection using drone resources to the CV Link. They're also looking at if you're not aware, the CV Sync program. So they've got cameras throughout the Coachella Valley. We want to ingest those cameras where we don't have eyes on. And then our school partners and businesses in the community, et cetera. So that will grow, and our fire partners as well. Just real briefly, this is just some of the technology: license plate readers, threat analysis software, crime analysis software, Flock OS. We can talk about that later, but that's just really the hub for all this data comes in on one dashboard for us. Then we integrate all of our other systems here, our cameras from throughout the city, then our drone first responder program, and then a thing called Flock Freeform. And that's really just a really great AI capability, a way of searching the cameras, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. Flock OS, this is the hub. So this is one giant map, if you imagine, of the region, and this is where all of our data point sets come in. I'll see the crimes coming in, they plot them on a map, our 911 calls come in, I'm able to see them on a map, I'm able to see where all the police cars and fire trucks are, I'm able to see where all the hits are from all the stolen vehicles or wanted vehicles that come in. So that's what this program does for us. And it shoots the images up of stolen vehicles, et cetera.
Is this active now?
This is active now. This entire center is active now, yes.
I'm sorry, since when?
About the last 3 weeks.
I think we came with it December 8th-ish.
We've been using the software for quite some time, but the actual center has been live for about 3 weeks.
Okay. So this would help, like, for example, with the bombing that took place in downtown last summer.
Yeah, and it did.
Okay.
Yes, we used Flock cameras, pieces of it to identify the suspect vehicle coming into the city.
Right, because I believe the individual was from the high desert.
Was, correct.
Where it did help is we had a bomb threat to the festivals down in Coachella. So Cathedral City took the initial complaint, they put the license plate in the system, then we picked it up in the city, got in a short pursuit, and then later found the suspect that made that threat.
Another good incident of this was Indio had a homicide, a drive-by shooting, a homicide. One individual was killed in that one, and our system started alerting on that suspect vehicle right away. As soon as that started alerting on our city, we launched drones. The drones got overhead, found the vehicle, started surveilling it, watched them actually hand off the weapons to somebody else, recovered the murder weapons, got two people in custody, 3 people in custody on that incident. So the speed and accuracy and immediacy of this is tremendous. We would have never seen any of that before without this technology, even let alone known they were in our city.
So Hutch, as we are looking at expanding Flock OS, is this going to be also part of like the CV Link, for example?
Correct.
Because there was reports of a recent incident when someone got stabbed and so on and so forth.
Yes, it will be part of it. This will be part of the dashboard that helps us with alerting, and then the drones are going to be a big part of that. So all of this entire software will be part of that. And there's more components here as we're going through. Another piece, Flock 911. All right, so in a police department, the dispatch center has generally been the only ones. 911 calls come into the center. The dispatchers hear the calls. They type all that information in, and then they get it to the officers. Well, by the time that's getting to the officers, we could be delayed. Seconds, minutes, all of that matter in life-saving efforts, right, for the police department. So everybody in the center, what they're doing is they're listening to the 911 call live. They're not talking. They're just listening to the dispatcher, and they're listening to the individuals. And oftentimes we're launching drones, looking at cameras, and putting things in the alerts before the officers are even aware that call is even coming in. Right, so that is part of what this Flock 911 system does. It translates the call for us, and upcoming evolutions of this, it will be translating those. So if it's a Spanish speaker, we're going to be able to see that in multiple other languages as well.
Well, multiple languages.
multiple. License
Por
plate.
favor.
I'm not going to read this. This is just a description of the license plate readers, but this is what you'll see. You'll see these. We have about 55 of these throughout the city of Palm Springs currently. Now, these are throughout all over California and all over the place. The information that's collected in here is a image of the back of your vehicle and a license plate. It doesn't tell us who the car belongs to. It doesn't provide any of that information. It doesn't do a deep dive. We have to go into another Department of Justice protected system to actually get that information to figure out who the car belongs to. This is simply giving us an image, reading a plate, and telling us that car is wanted, and this is the direction of travel that vehicle is going.
So there is a red flag raised at this point.
Correct.
Like, this particular license is sought after by maybe another jurisdiction, or the car has been reported stolen, or something along those lines. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. And that's the information. Yes,
So
ma'am.
while we were sitting here, I got an alert on my watch of a stolen car that hit on the flock camera at Ramon and Vistagino.
So this is real time for the
Right,
public.
going on right now.
This is real time for the public, you know.
Was that the Toyota?
I don't know.
Probably. I got to teach you to look at the image.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have a question. I was wondering, you see some of these solar-type panels at some stop signs. Are they collecting license plate records for rolling stops or people who don't obey the stop sign?
No. So any of these cameras, we don't have any red light. They're not issuing citations. They're not issuing a summons whatsoever. That's not the purpose of these. These are simply to alert us to wanted vehicles, right? in the
Amber
community.
alerts?
Amber alerts.
Silver alerts.
Silver alerts, yeah, human trafficking, any of those types of
Human
things.
trafficking is a huge issue, obviously, right? And it's growing. So that's very important,
Very important, yes.
particularly for us out here.
Yes, and so that is what they do. Again, it's not collecting information. It doesn't tell us, that camera cannot tell us who is driving the vehicle, who the vehicle's registered to. Can't give us any of that information. Again, we have to grab that data and go into an entirely other Department of Justice protected system to get that information.
So the trigger is that red flag, and it's like our system's now going to start looking and getting those permissions to look deeper. So there's no civil violations or anything like that until there's due diligence.
Correct. Yeah, again, it's going to give us pinpoint, this is the location, Vistachino and Sunrise, and this direction of travel in the back of the plate in the back of the car.
So it's not like, oh, this guy looks brown, and there's a brown person who committed this crime somewhere else, and maybe this is the person.
No.
None of
And
that
we cannot see, the way these are positioned, we can't see the drivers of the vehicle. So that does make it very difficult to identify who's actually in the car.
Very important. Thank you.
Another part of this that we talked about where we're bringing in all of the siloed and disparate databases, it's called Flock Nova. And this is a very powerful system where it takes and says, all right, you 28 systems or 30 systems that you have, right? Instead of searching those independently, we're going to integrate them into this crime analysis software, search one time, and then tell a story of all of those data sets and those data points with one search. So now we're looking for information that we need in a matter of seconds rather than sometimes hours and days and weeks. So very, very powerful for us to have this addition to the Intelligence Center. Freeform, what this does for us here, the CCTV cameras, is we can put in a clothing description, we can put in, rust on a vehicle. We can say there's a license plate, a bumper sticker, not a particular bumper sticker, but a bumper sticker, or a male wearing a green shirt and blue jeans. And what it does is now I can select the cameras that we want, and it searches all of those, with one search for us, and says, this date and time, anybody that matched that description, right, is going to show up on your cameras to potentially give us a lead.
And it's based on a description, not what it used to be, like a drawing or what's the word
sketch.
for-
A
sketch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no longer a sketch of someone looking, hair's like this,
Yeah.
or none of that. It's a description, and then the images will
Is
kind
it
of
facial
appear.
recognition?
There is not facial recognition on these cameras, no. That is not an area that, facial recognition is is not really proven very well. I mean, it can give leads, but, listen, we've all used facial recognition at some point, but it's not anywhere live on any of these cameras. It's not on our drones. It's actually illegal in the state of California to have facial recognition on drones in this state, so we don't have that. And it's certainly not on any of this technology that we have out in public.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of reporting would go through that would make you want to identify an individual? I mean, if like a retail.
Say we have a street robbery, or somebody stole a bicycle, or a shoplifter that ran from the store, ran down the street. Numerous different reasons we'd want to look for somebody, right?
Okay.
This is just one of the platforms that we're looking at, that we're kind of toying with, I would say, at this point. This is a threat analysis. We don't enter any data into it. The system, and maybe the chief can talk on this if he'd like it a little bit, but is looking at is designed by people in the threat analysis world. It is looking at real-time comments being made, and it actually looks at it and says, okay, this type of language is indicative of, pre-attack, or there are pre-attack indicators that you may want to look out for that could escalate at some point. It doesn't mean we have to take action. It doesn't mean we have to do anything with it. It just helps us start to go, there might be something to this person who posted this comment out in the open source world. Chief, do you want to add to any of that?
Yeah, I think the key element here is we can program it to look for things like LGBTQ, Palm Springs. It's kind of like a Boolean search. So you can set up the parameters of what we're looking for. Take it with a grain of salt, because we can't get into the private chat rooms without a warrant. So if you're having a conversation on Snapchat with somebody about doing something terrible, we're not seeing it. NSA might be able to, but little old Palm Springs Police Department's not getting it. And but we'll take any heads up we can possibly get. The difference with this is because it's integrated with the rest of our system, and if we can identify that it's Andy Mills saying that, then we can run through the rest of the system and say, okay, well, he has this license plate, he hit on our system in our city at this time. That is where we would have actionable intelligence and raise it from the yellow to the orange or the red, that there's an imminent attack. And that will give us the opportunity to try to intervene in that, just like the one that happened, with that previous one where you had a guy threatening to blow up the music festival. Then we were able to check our flock cameras. They put it in as an automatic alert. It alerts. Our guys got the car stopped after pursuit, had the bomb dogs go over it and all that kind of thing, and he was just making a threat. But there's an example of an actionable threat that we need to be on top of. And
This is extraordinarily important, not only because of the amount of events, public events that we have and host in Palm Springs, but also because, while we're a community of 45,000 onward people, we have about 14 million people traveling through here every year, and we have the festivals, and we have the concerts, and we have the Pride Parade, and we've got so many things going on that any potential thread that might be picked up or perceived by this particular system is taking into account seriously, researched seriously, assessed seriously, and then plan for what it could be a real threat. Am I right?
yeah.
What about death threats toward individuals, maybe even public individuals, city council people? Is that also picked up, or, because some of these are empty, but some of them could be real?
Well, it could be picked up, but again, it depends how the threat comes in. If it's a private email to somebody, then we're not going to see it. But if it gets emailed to city council, for instance, we do get threats occasionally to commission members, to city council members, to staff, that we can now do our workup on, and then if we are able to identify a vehicle, now you put it in the system. If it's a valid threat. I mean, we get a lot of threats that are not really threats. They're people who are overly concerned for a variety of reasons. So when that takes place, we discount those things. We just had one of our detectives really go through very thoroughly on what was reported to us as a threat, and it wasn't a threat. It was a comment that we were able to, to eliminate. Well, we're not gonna run that person or that vehicle through our systems because there's no need to. And
So
plus it's
let's
much
pause
more-
this for a second, because I think we're getting into something really important, which we've heard in the past, which is someone threatened me, or we had a disagreement and someone says, I'm gonna kill you. What is this person supposed to do with that knowledge of information? Or I got an email, or someone says, I'm gonna kill you, or
Well,
I hate you people and
Well,
you should all be killed, or
there's-
whatever that.
Yeah, there's a difference. I mean, if somebody says, I'm going to kill you, that is a valid threat. We're gonna investigate that, and we're gonna take that as far as we possibly can. We're gonna run them in our system to see if they have any guns registered to them. We're gonna look at their criminal history. We're gonna look at their social media. We're gonna look at everything we can. But we normally get our threats like, I hope you die. Well, that's not a threat. That is a ill wish, but it is not a threat. And again, we'll still take a good hard look at that. Is there more to it? Is there social media to support it or whatever?
So things like, I know where you live, I know your parents, I know your children, that, it starts to get a little bit eerie and
It's
more.
a little bit more eerie, but again, those aren't threats. Those are statements of fact, and that's protected by the Constitution.
Right.
So those are the kind of things we have to be pretty careful of, and I think our people use really good judgment on those things. But when we get what we view as a significant or valid threat, we don't stop on that until we are able to run it to ground. And then if need be, we get what's called a gun violence restraining order that's served through the courts, and they have a choice: give us their guns, or else we get a search warrant and get those guns. And if that happens, we take them for 5 years. If not, they give them for 1 year.
And to your point, we had a high-profile threat, probably in the last 12 months that came into our city. And it was very direct and very immediate. And we also found that this individual happened to be showing up everywhere this person who was concerned or was threatened would show up. This individual was in that same city or a nearby city. And so we ended up tracking that suspect all the way to Fresno. Fresno? Fresno. So we flew people up. We flew up to Fresno, met with Fresno. We took that guy into custody that night. So, crime doesn't, just because you leave our city doesn't mean we're going to stop. We're going to come for you, and we're going to find you and take you into custody. And our detectives will work around the clock if it's a legitimate threat to make that happen. So we don't get those type of threats that are that immediate and that dire all the time, but on occasion we do, and we really need to track those down. And this technology helps us do that.
Can't say how impressed this is, because, wow, it's so needed.
Just a question about a different way of angle on this. Are you hooked into all units in Southern California or nationally, or let's say another vehicle goes outside of somebody's jurisdiction, do they put out a alert nationally, and then you put it in your system? If it ever shows up in Palm Springs, you'll get them?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that's done. One of them is called NCIC, and so that is anywhere in the entire United States. If that vehicle is wanted, or if the vehicle is got, for homicide or stolen, you name it. If an officer happens to run the plate, we will get the information back right away from our dispatch center to tell us that. The license plate reader system helps us get that immediate hit as well. And as long as those those vehicles hit our cameras in our city, we are going to get that information so long as it is wanted and that hit has been put on that vehicle in the system. And so as long as that has been put in the system on NCIC, we will get that alert. And the way that the license plate reader systems work is that we can also request information or sharing capabilities between cities. And in California, we don't share outside of the state of California. So if Arizona or somebody says, hey, we'd like to see your license plate readers, we don't allow them to have that access. It's a state law, so it's it's prohibited. And in the state of California, our requirement here is that I have to have that agency reach out to me. We send them an MOU, and they have to agree to that before we will grant them access to have access to our cameras, which will essentially say, you're going to agree not to share this and conduct, enforcement on immigration or abortions and things of that nature, and then you won't share that information with that other entities. Now, certainly, if we get subpoenaed or court ordered, from one of these agencies, then we have to provide information. But we are not just going to open up our databases and our systems to allow that to occur just freely. Okay.
Now, if the FBI or another agency calls us and says, hey, we're working a terrorism case or we're working a murder, we're going to give them what they need.
Sure.
But they're going to have to call us. We're just not going to share it freely because William did some audits and found that, people were trying to access it for different reasons. Now, none of our information was ever used for immigration enforcement, but we proactively caught that on our own and we shut everybody else out other than that. So.
And to the chief's point, we do audits, and so we're now moving to. I was doing weeklies, but we're going to move to a monthly audit, and we have two capabilities. We look at what our own people are searching for, and are they following the guidelines and the policy set forth. And the system allows me to force those fields to be filled out, so to tell me what is the reason you're searching, and you have to have a case number associated with that, so we can track that back, right? And so our people are doing that regularly, and then the outside agencies that have permission. Right now, we only have about 25 outside agencies that have access to our database. And we can look at their audits. And I did have one time where we looked at something and I didn't feel that their reasoning was explained enough, and we reached out. And once we reached out and understood what it was, we said, well, listen, our MOU requires a little bit more if you're going to hit our database. And then we haven't had that problem since. But that's our responsibility, to just really make sure we're kind of holding each other accountable. And if another agency isn't, then we'll certainly revoke their access if we find that they are accessing our databases for.
So I personally find this very encouraging and wonderful in a way that is putting a lot of safeguards into place. And for folks that might be concerned about providing information to the police department, reporting something and saying, hey, if I do this, am I being exposed? Is my information going to be out there? Maybe I'm concerned about my immigration status or my LGBT status, or I'm transitioning. And all of those things come into play, right?
Right.
So it's very important for the public that this is hammered right here and right now, because it's great to hear that we are following procedure, law, and putting all these safeguards in place, in my opinion.
Sorry, just to follow up. What you're taking is the picture of the license plate, so there's no picture of the car?
No, there's a picture of the car.
Of the vehicle, okay.
Yeah, from the back.
Oh, back, okay, because I was just thinking if I'm a really good, really clever criminal, I would immediately stop and steal somebody else's
they do.
plate
Yeah,
really, really quickly.
And they do, and actually, we've seen them do that to where they've left one area. Next thing we know, we found them in another area, they've changed the plate, and went on to another, because the vehicles, we're still, sometimes the vehicles have, we'll get lucky and there'll be some unusual look to the vehicle or special rims or something to it, and we'll still be able to search that vehicle. But we've, many times, I think in one case we had that we went to Moreno Valley recently was a guy that came out here and stole a bunch of landscaping equipment, I think $50,000 worth, and he changed the plate 3 different times before getting back to Moreno Valley. And we still found him all in the same day and the same night, and still did search warrant, got it back. So, very powerful tools.
So you can search either by the car or by the plate?
Correct.
Or by color or by any parameter?
Any unique identifiers.
Interesting. This
Yeah.
is fascinating.
Yeah, very lucky.
Very fascinating.
One of the other things we're looking at is our community partners. So as we evolve here, some of the next steps that we want is the more access to cameras, the better response that we can have. So schools, for an example, right? We're going to go into talks with the school district to say, listen, it's really important in the event of, you know, a serious incident, an active shooter or something happens, that we have actionable intelligence right now. We don't, you know, this delay of calling and trying to tell us where the person is, I mean, that gets lost in translation, and then we're getting 10 other calls, and, you know, we're being sent in, you know, a million different directions. And so the ability to have access to the school district's cameras is going to really provide invaluable. And you're seeing this throughout the nation where police departments are getting access to schools' camera systems, and it's providing them immediate information on the fly. Other critical infrastructure businesses that want to participate. One of the things we're going to stay away from, though, are residential.
I was going to ask, why is residential not on the list?
Not going to happen. That is not an area that listen, I think, you know, there's a lot here, right, for government to be involved in already. And I mean, to have, you know, law enforcement in every single neighborhood to your house, like, it gets too messy. And I think, you know, to be able to say, well, I want you to have access to my backyard. No, I don't want to see what's going on in the backyard. And I don't want to see the house, and I don't, no. So we're going to stay away from that. At least, I mean, that's kind of the direction that I'm pushing. You know, if we want, you know, the businesses surrounding your neighborhood or license plate readers, there are a couple neighborhoods who have place license plate readers on their own in their communities in Palm Springs, so that is something that's coming. Now, if they do that and it's on the right-of-way in Palm Springs, we have access to that completely, and most of the places that are doing this in their HOAs are also solely giving us access. So we've got, I think, 3 communities so far that have moved to put license plate readers in their communities in Palm Springs at this point, that we now have access to. So, you know, people are seeing the value of that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I recall, I don't know if the laws changed, but people who shoplifted, if they stole less than $750, they couldn't be jailed or prosecuted or they would be given a ticket or something. So I'm wondering if the businesses now, if they're capturing, thieves stealing merchandise, and their cameras pick that up, how is that handled? That $750 threshold, you know, is what I was.
Go down from 950?
No, it's 950.
So it's 950.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 950. There's some of the laws did change, that they did bring some things back. So if you have prior convictions for theft, right, that now becomes a felony. So even though it's under that threshold, so then we can still arrest you for the felony crime and book you on a felony charge. But yeah, it's that in California, if you steal less than $950 and you do not have a prior conviction, so I could go on a spree all day long and do this. And if I don't have a conviction, it's just a citation, and they're not holding you. The capacity, you know, the county jails are not holding people. So that is a challenge for us.
So Hutch, similarly, if a residential person has something on camera and
Yes.
there's been a robbery or invasion of property or something, or maybe even a crime, right, of any kind, and they want to submit that kind of video footage to the department and say, we've got proof and we would like for you to pursue this, what is the avenue for folks? It's just call in and say, we've got these folks on camera, and...
So there's a couple of ways. That is one way to do that. So there, the Ring system, the Ring portal, right? The law enforcement, we can currently reach out, circle an area if you have an account with Ring, and we can shoot an automated message to you saying, listen, hey, if you have any footage between this time and this time, this is what we're looking for. Can you please upload it and send it to us? And you can do it that way. You can certainly call us. We can get it. And then our newest camera registry that we're getting ready to roll out through Flock will do the same thing as Ring. So we'll number one know if you tell us, oh, there are cameras right nearby that might have captured something, so our detectives can reach out to you right away, and if the same capability, you can upload that to us
Real quick, in that question too, our officers are doing, our community service officers, they have a residential burglary. They're canvassing the neighborhood to ask for, like, hey, do you have any video? And what they could do is the individual homeowner could download it and now share it with, if there's any tips.
What about driver's license readers? Because like nightclubs have license readers for age and the person.
They do.
Yeah.
Is that information that could be transmitted to your system?
You know, I haven't looked to see what other agencies are doing. Some, you know, a lot of times you'll find that some businesses are hesitant with that, just because sometimes it could hurt their business if they know. Now, what they generally do is they require us to do a search warrant, and we get that information and then extract it. Generally speaking, some
Some of it's
willingly,
patrons.
yeah,
Yeah, some of it have just given it to us.
some willingly give it to us. Can it be attached to one of our systems? Maybe, we just haven't gone down that route to see what's available and if that's something we want to explore, but there is a potential.
MJ, the example was, I think there was I don't know if they're still doing it, there was a couple clubs downtown, and they had issues, so they would, it's called patron scan, they would scan the ID. Later, there was an incident with somebody in the club, and they were able to show us who it was. That's how we followed up, and they were connected to another place where they were kind of sharing info, it's like, you might be mindful about letting this person into your club, but I think they might have.
Internally, like if I have a bar in Palm Desert, I can sign up through Patron Scan through the company, and then if you have a bar in Palm Springs, we can be connected through that data. That's internally, non-law enforcement. That's
Okay.
how it works.
Interesting.
But it is, we can go to them and find out, did this person visit your bar that night, or they scanned in, did they check, and it helps in investigations for sure. Moving on a little bit to policy. Really, I focused on two different policies, our license plate reader and our drone policy. And this part here, you have that at your fingertips, you can certainly do, and I highlighted some areas for you, the civil liberties area, the audits area, the prohibited use, and really what our focus is when we're using them. These are just the prohibited use sections, right? They're not going to be used to invade your privacy, not harassment or intimidation, not for personal use, not for any type of unlawful law enforcement, unofficial law enforcement acts whatsoever. We conduct regular audits of both of these systems. For the drone as well, we actually provide a public link so you can see where every single drone flight left from, where it went to, where it went back to. We give the case number, we give the date, the time, as well as the reason for that drone flight. So that's publicly available information now as well. The other thing that's available on the public website and our transparency portal for the license plate readers are who we're sharing the information with, how many hits are coming off of our license plate readers, and there's a few other kind of important pieces of information, but again, all available to the public for the public to see. So, you know, obviously, if these are the types of things that we really want to look at when we talk about civil liberties and protecting data and privacy and where can we improve in these areas. It's important to note our license plate reader information, we only maintain that information for 30 days. We used to maintain it for 365 days, and then we severely limited that to a 30-day retention period only. So
I particularly focused on one of the many things that you have on the screen right now for drone, and it's specifically to integrated facial recognition or biometrics. And I think people listening to this, for the public listening to this, I think you should really pay attention to that, because this is one of the biggest complaints we hear when it comes to security camera protections and recordings and all of that. So this is really good.
And I think it's also important for the public to know when we're on a drone flight, we're going to and from a location. So the gimbal, the camera, is facing kind of at the horizon when it leaves its docking station. And this is something we can show you. Goes right to the location, and once it gets to the location, then the camera goes down and we start looking. Now, where that will change is if we get information that the person fled in the vehicle, right? Then we're going to start looking for them, and the camera is going to go down right away. But if it's to and from, right, to a call for service, right? And why is that important? Because we don't want people to think, well, like, you're looking at me in my backyard, and that's all you're doing is flying over and seeing that I'm sunbathing in the back, right? So we really want to
Starts naked.
right.
Sunbathing.
Tan lines.
No tan lines here.
Right. And any of the footage that we collect, we treat it the same as our body-worn camera footage. So some of it's retained for a matter of 6 months, some of it's based off of evidence, and it's there until the case is adjudicated, et cetera. So we follow city retention policies and evidence codes for that.
Just, if I can just add in on this, when they fill out the reasoning for that they want to look at either the ALPR use or the drone use, they have to put in the location, the name, the case number, and then the criminal justice reason. So for instance, narcotics investigation, case number P25P1005. And so then we can always go back and track it to make sure that it's accurate. So when he does his audits, he'll take a look at that case number. If they put that case number in as, 1003, and that comes back as a, P in public, then we're saying, wait a second, this is not what you said it was. Then we do an investigation to find out what happened. Frequently, if there's anything like that, they just put the wrong number in, they transposed a number. But if there's actual fraud, then we take them to task. And we haven't found that yet.
The Department of Justice requires similar audits for our own CAD and RMS systems and any CLETS-related information, which is personal identifying information from your driver's license, your registration information, your criminal history. And they actually come out and they audit. And the California Department of Justice is really the watchdog for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who really has the ultimate say in all of this protection of this personal information that goes into all of our systems. So we really have to make sure that, we're following the rules and our people are following the rules, that we're conducting these audits, and and if something goes wrong, we have to open up an investigation. We have to report the results of that investigation, what we actually did with it to hold our team accountable, and what we did to correct it moving forward. So there's a lot that goes into. It's not just having the software and go forth and have at it and have a fun. No, there's a responsibility that we have that's enormous.
Very good.
I have just one quick question. So, if a drone is approaching like a crime scene and the camera is down, how high are they above about ground elevation?
Generally about 150 feet above the ground.
Okay.
Yeah. We also we have one of the nation's largest radar systems in our city for drone capabilities. One of the first in the nation to do that. And that allows us to sit right here. We could log on to one of these computers and fly a drone from one of the 4 locations that we have throughout the city. We can do it anywhere. If the chief wants to, go to Italy and wants to fly a drone, he can do it as long as he's got internet connection. And so we had to go through a lot of requirements with the FAA to allow that to occur. So right here, this is just some of our partners, and again, this is just going to show, we at some point will plan on integrating cameras from Desert Hot Springs to Indio, et cetera, with the CVAG. But one of the other things we want to talk about is de-escalation here. I got a call one day and said, hey, we have a man with a rifle call in a park, and we need to get eyes on. Now, our response with a man with a gun call is generally very tactical, okay? We have a person with a rifle. It's a very dangerous situation. We're going to generally bring armor out. We're going to have multiple officers. Generally going to have some high-powered weapons of our own to make sure that we're safe. And it's going to be a very tactical response, right? Because what we're doing is we're listening to callers. That's being translated to a dispatcher, and the dispatcher is translating that information to the officers. So sometimes that information is inaccurate, but that's all we have to rely on. Now, since we've introduced drones, all right, this has given us true situational awareness with actual eyes on ourselves that we can send to the officers in the field so they can make better decisions. So what we did is I flew this drone from home, got eyes on, so okay, sure enough, there's some gentlemen that look very young. One of them is definitely carrying what appears to be a rifle with a scope on it. Looks like a very dangerous weapon. At one point, the picture on the right, you can see him. What he did is he put the rifle in between his legs and he broke the stock forward and he started shaking like this. Somebody that's experienced with firearms knows that's not a firearm, that's a BB gun. Yeah. Okay, and he's loading BBs into the front. That changes our tactical response from guns drawn, armored out, pointing at this individual with the potential of a shooting to a community context that, guys, this is not a very safe thing to do. Wow. Right? Very different response for law enforcement, and it becomes more of a positive interaction than a negative one. Right? And so this
whole situation can become lethal without this particular
Easily.
information.
In seconds.
It might just be a miscommunication between the officer and the individuals.
And we've seen that in the nation, right? I think we saw this with a police officer, and I forgot what. Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
At a park, turns the corner, and it's a young man with and he starts like pointing towards the officer, and the officer fires multiple rounds and kills him, and I think he was 12?
Yeah.
12 years old and kills this boy with a BB gun, right? That's what we want to avoid. So this type of technology, I mean, quite honestly, I look at this and just think that it's irresponsible of us not to have it if it's available, right?
Correct.
As an agency and as a city. So this was one of the first drone deployments that, I mean, it's the intangibles that I think that we need to look at here. I'm going to just show you really quickly. Hopefully, I'm going to get this to play, or maybe you might have to do that, Jeremy, if you can.
This is a great video, guys, if you haven't seen it.
Okay, so what this is this is just going to show you thermal capabilities of these drones. Okay, so this is at nighttime. This is being able to look for a suspect that may be hiding, and what does that look like, and what, you know, when it's pitch black out there, what can we see from our drones? There you go, heat source, hiding in a bush, starts moving, right, and this information can be relayed to the officers that here's a person in a backyard. And that's all drone footage. That's all drone thermal capabilities on every single one of the drones that we have out in the field right now. So the likelihood of you getting away is slim to none. So it's really important for us to have all of these capabilities. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is not X-ray vision. I cannot see through your house. Okay, I can't see into your shower, into your
Superman
bedroom.
vision.
There's no I'm not able to see through the walls. I'm not able to do this. This is going to show me outside. As you can see the heat source, you can see the person's arm there moving. They're trying to conceal themselves. It helps us give that tactical situational awareness to the officers in the field. All right, let's go to the next one. Same one here. Now, fire department. How can we assist the fire department on calls for service or fires? Same thing. It'd be that one or the other
Thermal camera one?
Yeah, one of those two. There you go. It'll play by itself. So this is going to show you the left here. It's going to show you actually the hot spots where the fire is burning. At this location where the fire department, where we can see this is really where you need to concentrate your firefighting efforts. Now we're going to show you the difference here when that other side of the camera comes on and just how difficult it is to pinpoint it and why this is so invaluable for the firefighters on scene.
Based on the thermal footage versus the optical footage.
Right. You can see the hot spots there. You can see where the fire is burning, where they need to concentrate their efforts. And then there you can see, well, there's some smoke coming out, but I don't really know where the heat is, right? Okay. You get the concept and the idea here.
So you're actually sharing this system with the fire department also?
Correct.
This is awesome.
Currently deployed, there are sharing with Cathedral City. There are currently 6 drone docks stationed throughout the 2 cities. Cathedral City is soon to have a 3rd, but these are the different locations that we have them up, and this is exactly what they look like. They sit in these docking stations that they land back into. They recharge in a matter of 20 minutes, and then they are both have HVAC in them, so we can fly in about 120 degrees with these drones, which is really nice. Try not to. I mean, I really don't want them falling out of the sky. It's electronics, but we certainly can. So they're heat rated and cold rated as well. This was just kind of a map. If we started eventually growing, the ability to have drones throughout the Coachella Valley. Indio is going to be starting a drone first responder. And the idea is, from our center, we are able to see and grab and fly any of the other drones in any of the other cities. We had a pursuit just recently. There was a stolen vehicle in Palm Springs. It went into Desert Hot Springs. We're flying our drone. Desert Hot Springs is listening to the pursuit. They launch their drone. Because we can only go so far, right, with both the camera capability and the speed of the drones, but we were able to keep eyes on it the entire time. They launched theirs, ended up getting the guy into custody, and watched him run into a house, come back out with a shaved head, and tried to disguise himself, but it didn't work out for him because we saw him the entire time. So very successful.
In that particular incident, I mean, we can't send the drone into Desert Hot Springs, but it was crazy how far the camera could zoom in. So we're able to see a majority of the pursuit until it kind of got lost in the residential area. But by that time, Desert Hot Springs had theirs up.
That's awesome.
Now, I'm going to play this really quick for you. This is just going to kind of give you big picture, really, when you're bringing all the pieces of the puzzle together. This is another place in Georgia, Dunwoody Police Department. But I think that Flock did a really nice job just showing you how are the operators working in a real-time environment. Now, hopefully the sound is turned up on this and they can hear it.
We'll see in just a second.
Okay, sounds good. Not hearing it yet.
I need IT assistant here.
Okay.
Right over.
No sound, but we can get a sense of what's happening. Just keep on playing it. We can get a sense of what's happening.
And if not, you can.
Echo.
Can't get the audio because it goes with the.
It feeds
Gotcha.
back in.
Okay, so essentially this is gonna show a couple operators in a real-time crime center. This is a person who, it was a carjacking coming in, and they're just showing the different components. So the 911 calls coming in, the real-time center is listening to those calls. They're dispatching a drone to that immediate area to start looking for that car right away. They're gonna say that the vehicle just hit on one of the license plate readers. They're gonna start getting that information, getting more details on the car, entering that car into what we call a hot list. So right away, it'll start picking up on the license plate readers. So they can, the free form, as I told you about, they're typing in the description of the car and they're picking it up. That's going to the officers in the field instantaneously. The alerts start going off there. Their operators are relaying that, sending the drone to go find it. And then at the end here, they'll, find the car and take the guy into custody. It's kind of a fun little video just to kind of give the simplicity of what we're doing. It's not as simple as it looks to fly these drones and to really have all these moving pieces of the puzzle. And when you have just 2 or 3 people in a room really trying to do all this simultaneously. But when it comes together quite nicely and really efficiently. So here, now one of the other things they're going to show, and I think one of the future evolutions that we will have is they are able to access the body-worn camera footage live from that center. So they show this here momentarily, right there. And this is, in many real-time crime centers throughout the country, they can access this. We have the capabilities. It's just a matter of us negotiating with unions, et cetera, and trying to make that happen. But the technology, again, to have that situational awareness that we've never had before. Generally, as the chief or the lieutenants or the captains, we're listening to information coming from the officers in the field. Now to actually see it, we can cancel pursuits earlier. We can, if the officer's not answering their radio. I think Riverside Sheriff had one where they're like, this officer went out on a ped stop with somebody, he's not answering his radio. So they're like, activate his body-worn camera. They're able to activate it, see it's on the ground, and can see a scuffle going on. Well, he couldn't even get to his radio to ask for help, and so they started sending him help right away. So again, the technology is quite amazing.
A quick question. Occasionally on Nextdoor, you'll see somebody say there's a drone around our neighborhood for the last 20 minutes. It's possible that this might be one of your drones looking for somebody?
Very possible, yes. So, and again, that's where they could certainly look at our dashboard and look and see, was that a police department flight? And then if they saw it in the area, they'd be able to say, oh yeah, it was the police department conducting a flight. And this is just what the inside of that room looks like today, so.
That's awesome.
We're certainly open to any other questions, Mike?
Any additional questions?
First of all, my grandfather was a police lieutenant, so, the thing I sat here thinking about this whole presentation was, he used to tell me stories of the operations that didn't go well and how those would have been so changed by having something like this. And I remember hearing all the sort of arguments against this, right, about human rights and civil rights. But the protocols that you've put in place are so strong to prevent that, including the monthly audits and the way that it's laid out with the pull-down menus, and you have to submit an answer. I think is so great that how this is set up, and it honestly makes it feel like we live in a much safer city because of this. And that I think is very important, especially for our communities that. Some people feel there are pockets of specifically Palm Springs that are more crime-ridden, and Have we seen actual data that shows that we are sort of chipping away at the numbers because of this? That you see crime rates going down, or more, not crime rates going down, let me say, more success apprehending criminals that have committed crimes?
So actually, I made a note to mention that crime does cluster. I mean, we know from crime science that you'll get pockets of crime, whether it's a street segment or what's called a hot spot or a hot dot or a hot line where, vehicles, for instance, in North Palm Canyon, we get a lot of accidents there. You get drunk drivers cluster around bars. You could go on and on. So one of the things we've had a lot of discussion about is how do we measure impact versus process. The process of sending out a drone to check on something to our response times could be interesting. But one of the things we want to do is to measure our effectiveness on reducing crime. We're certainly are not there yet. It's just too brand new to be looking at. We have seen crime declining over the past couple of years here in Palm Springs. But we want to make sure that it continues. So, being thoughtful about what we do. For instance, one of the things we have a problem with is at 1717 East Vista Chino, where the Stater Brothers is, because of a dope house close by. And so, one of the things we've discussed is, well, can we send the drones with little red and blue lights, flying around the parking lot saying the cops are on the way, please leave. And try to bust it up so it's more consistent in policing those hot spots and then measuring that effectiveness to see we have less calls for service, we have fewer arrests, or do we have more arrests? It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Second part of that is people of color and economically disadvantaged are disproportionately impacted by crime. And so how do we do this? And the questions we're asking, how do we do this in a way that respects civil rights, but at the same time protects communities that are impacted by gun violence? I think at one point we took a look at the data, and 80% of the shootings that took place in the city were within a half a mile of each other. How do you police that effectively? Now, that's been greatly reduced by a lot of our team efforts, but how do we sustain that? So those are some things we're looking at, Scott, and that's a thoughtful question.
And just to add to that, Miami-Dade, I think, did an academic study just on the effectiveness on real-time crime centers, and some of the biggest points they saw were case closure rates go up, right? Apprehensions go up. All too often, we respond and we have a lot of open cases because we're not there that don't go solved. And so they are seeing definitely an impact in those areas. And so I don't know that we're, again, to the chief's point, still too new to see what the impact on actually crime reduction may or may not be. But certainly we are seeing that I think our cops sometimes are saying, my gosh, we can't go anywhere without that drone, finding somebody and getting it before we do. So, it's creating a little bit more work for them as well, because again, we are apprehending people quicker, but it'll be interesting to see comparative over the last few years what that looks like in about 12 months.
Your average shoplifter that ran out of the store, we would never even been able to get their information. So we're listening to the call coming on 911, I can launch the drone, and all of a sudden, I get the guy coming out of the store before he even comes out of the store. I can get video of him, I can get a picture of the vehicle. And now we have a workable lead on that. We didn't have that before. So now just times that by multiple other crimes that are happening, that now we're gonna get all that, and the workload's gonna go up.
So I'm an amateur tech nerd. I do love technology, and so I love this. And curious questions are, the docks, are they protected? Are they under surveillance as well? You would think criminals might think to go and attack the docks and attack the drones. How are they protected?
So they do have exterior cameras on them. So we do see that. We are going to add to a couple other locations some additional cameras. Right now they are, one of them is on top of the police department, so.
Good luck.
Yeah. One's on top of a fire department, and we've got one on top of the convention center, and it's really tough to get up there.
Yeah.
One's on top of a private business. So that's one of the ones that we want to put a little bit more protection on, but yes.
That was the one I thought about. Just seeing the name, I was like, oh, that's a low roof, yeah.
So but we certainly do have a camera that we can hit live view and see currently on every single one of the drones. We can see weather, all that type of thing, because it's important for flights and what that looks like, but we do have cameras on.
And can you, what the chief talked about sending a message, can you actually send audio through the drone? You
Yeah,
can.
they have external PA systems. We could play music. We can do pre-programmed messaging. We can do it in real time, so we can do all of the above.
Well, like during the Hurricane
Yeah.
Hillary, we wanted to make sure that there weren't unhoused individuals in the wash that were unaware of the pending significant rain event. So I think you flew the drone over the wash and announcing to people, hey, you're likely to get washed away, so please get out of the riverbed.
That's awesome.
You get to seek higher ground, and they flew that all over the washes, and we were able to contact people and push up the camera so you could see and get right overhead. And had some other funnier ones, but
Yeah.
like one guy smoking meth and, drone went overhead and said, "This is God."
Yeah.
Leave people, save your lives. Any additional comments or questions?
I would just like to say this presentation has been incredibly informative. I can't thank you guys enough for doing that. Thank you so much.
Following on that, obviously, as all of this is still evolving, and I guess our intention, not just for the commission, but also Chief, for your department and everyone involved, and for the public, as things develop and the technology improves and any other policies changes, please consider coming back to provide updates on a regular basis. And all we need to do is coordinate through our staff liaison, Jeremy, and the floor is yours, and I'm sure the public would love to hear more about how this program is evolving. And I can't thank you on behalf of the commission enough for coming in today and helping us start the year with this crucial information for all of us.
You bet. And in February, we're going to open the, 28th?
28.
We're going to open the building to our community, and anybody will be able to come in and take a look at the Drone Operations Center and drones. And
They're pretty cool, public. They're really cool if you haven't seen them in life, in person.
Just one more question, too. So you are very careful that there is, I don't want to say this, little to no collaboration with ICE agents being able to exploit or use this technology?
It's very specific that they are prohibited, expressly prohibited
Okay.
from using any of our information. And that's one of the reasons we shut off all the other states in the nation other than California, because we have SB 54, which prohibits our ability to share information used for immigration purposes with ICE. So yes, we are 100% confident that ICE cannot get our data in any way, shape, or form. Now, having said that, if ICE is working, for instance, they were here in town not too long ago working a murder for hire scheme. And so if they needed that was actually HSI, not ICE, but if they needed our help with something, then I will evaluate it and make a determination, or the deputy chief. But it has to go to that level in order for us to be able to use any of our data to support an agency that would potentially, pick on people who are immigrants.
It's reassuring.
I would just like to say I've known two of you gentlemen for over 18 years now, and I'm so glad you're still with us and doing what you're doing, and I thank you so much.
And we appreciate the support, and it makes it easy when we have such a supportive community.
That's one of the things I love about our city is the support for the police. Coming from New York City myself, and my grandfather was a police officer, like I know the other side of it. And it's something, and I talked to Chief Mills about this a lot, it's something I love about our city, that it is an overwhelming support. And I think that's why you see support for this that had, even though there were questions and concerns, it quickly evolved into, yes, this will make us safer. And I think that's great. And thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we want your questions and concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes us better. So don't hesitate to, if you have things later, just get a hold of Hutch or Frank or myself or Gus, and we'll try to answer them.
And what you do makes this community more attractive for people to move here and stay here and live here. You improve the quality of life by what you are all doing and how you outreach the community.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, folks. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay. Now, how was that for a kickstart? Thank you again.
So Hugo, had you heard this previously?
No, but I saw pieces of the technology at the State of the City presentation that City Council did, and the department made a extraordinary presentation of the technology and how things were evolving, so I was really happy to see that. We're still recording? Yes. Okay. Well, how was that for a
That was a great presentation.
great kickoff to our new year, huh?
Great.
Yeah.
And again, you know, when you see something that you'd like our police department to address, and as we move forward to the year, and we saw in the minutes, there's so many areas that our police department gets involved. Please feel free to just raise it, bring it in the comments, help us get it on the agenda so that we can talk about things. If we need to take a vote, that's how we get things done. If it's not on the agenda, it doesn't happen. And that's kind of something I wanted to keep on hammering. So that was 9A, fantastic. 9B is for us to have, just us, right?
Maybe I can give a little head note on this one, in that the chair of the Sustainability Commission reached out, and they're looking to partner with other commissions across the organization. What they've asked is, one, what type of information or what type of collaboration may be able to happen between sustainability and the Human Rights Commission? And also, would we prefer as a body that their commission or their chair interact with our chair, or for them to interact with the entire commission as a whole? What do we want that first step to be?
Okay, so with that, I wanted to ask this body of work if we understand what sustainability is and what it does. We don't. And this is what I wanted to start this conversation. And maybe, Jeremy, you can give us just a brief, a minute or so of what sustainability does.
I actually can't do that, so maybe that's where we start, by having them come to this body and giving us a short presentation.
Great idea.
Who they are.
That'd be great.
Because how they move and what they're doing to do their strategic planning and the work they do for the city impacts all of us in ways that we haven't even thought about. And I think there's a lot of particular gray areas that human rights can get involved. So as plans for sustainability developed, and they looked at budgets and they look at projects, some of us could also be participating with them to make sure that human rights are at the front and center of those plans and discussions.
Can we invite them for February, the February meeting?
I think that would be
Or at
the,
least one of the representatives?
I think that would be the way to start. It's just like, give us a presentation on your commission, tell us what you do, what do you have on the store, and then literally and openly ask, how can human rights, us, help you get involved, help your plans, and make sure that our community voices are heard when it comes to like tax dollars usage and projects and anything related to that.
In turn, they may ask us to come and do a presentation to them.
Absolutely.
And as we invite them to come and present, et cetera, I want all of us to be able to say, I want to be part of those discussions. I want to get involved. Please feel free to say, raise your hand. Invite me to the meetings, invite me to the sessions, help me get involved so that I can be part of these discussions. Okay? Very important.
Excellent, so I'll take that on to get them in our February meeting.
Okay.
Excellent.
And so that's the end of this discussion, right?
Would that be the chair or the entire commission?
No, I want each and every one of us to be able to say, I want to get involved in these discussions. I want to learn
I
how.
mean, the sustainability commissioners, will they be coming too? Or
Wants to
just-
be the chair and someone else.
I'm not sure if we'll get the entire commission, because then it becomes a Brown Act meeting for them, so we may just get a member or a few members, but I don't think we'll get a quorum of their commission,
After their presentation, then we can individually decide where we want to
determine
go.
what next steps are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we will be interacting with another board or commission. So we got to keep in mind that this might be a Brown Act issue. That's great, and I'd love to have them come and present for us in February.
And in the future, that might be a great idea for every commission to send a representative to just tell us what they do. It's a possibility.
That would be that's a great other part of our presentations monthly. Let's meet our fellow boards and commissions for the city of Palm Springs, and how can the Human Rights Commission interact, intersect, support
Work with them.
what they do?
I have a question regarding commissions. Does each commission have a mission statement?
That's a very good question, MJ, and I think we will learn when they come and present. That would be one question, is like, do you even have a mission statement? While I have a broad understanding of some of the commissions and the board, like we work with arts before, public arts, we've done work with them before, right? We've done a little bit of work with the library board. We invited folks from the Navigation Center and the homeless, and we've heard about them. Well, we have a general understanding of what they do. We might not fully understand why there's a commission or why there's a board. What is their mission? What are they trying to do? And how can human rights help them move that mission and the vision forward? What can we do to help that? As part of a commission or a board for the city, I think this is a great opportunity for us to look at 2026 as the year that we kick things start in that respect. What do you guys think? No?
Do we have a mission statement?
We do?
Okay.
We do?
I haven't reviewed it, but
All right.
it's okay. I think I have the whatever you call it.
I don't think we have a formal document
We,
unless it's in the
well, we used to have this on the
Wasn't it always
opening
on
of the agenda.
It was always on the agenda, I thought.
And there it is. If you turn the agenda to the first page, Mike, MJ, I would like for you to read the first paragraph on the agenda.
Because the city is not the commission.
It's not a commission? We used to have that commission one. Let's bring the mission of the HRC back into the first page of the agenda. Because that was something that was always there, MJ.
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah.
But a very good question. Let's bring it back. Okay, folks, if you have no more things to discuss, we can move to our item number 10, which is other commission member comments and requests, and I'll open the floor to anyone.
I have a question about the status of the applications for the community service award.
And ding, 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 ding. So we have an ad hoc committee looking at this, yes, officially?
Yeah, I was gonna get this on number 11, staff liaison comments, so I can respond to it then. When we get to item 11, I have a response to that.
So we get to that in just a minute. Any other member comments or requests?
Will Jeremy send out your, Helen and Charlotta's
Presentation.
presentation?
Yes.
And comments on that?
Right?
Is the appropriate time for that?
I sent it out, but I guess at the last meeting, you asked if there were comments. There were no comments that came out. We got the document out very recently, and I guess the question for the board is, do we want it to come back for further discussion, or do Commissioners Rinke and Vice Chair Soja have enough to proceed?
We had originally asked that everybody write out comments on it and turn them back into us, so that if you did see any changes or comments that you wanted to know about, we could sit down and look over them.
Okay.
As of today, I really haven't received anything. So
I'm sure that we understood
So I'm
those
assuming
instructions, but
everybody
we'd be
was-
I'd be happy to do that, because I have several, so I will get them to you then.
Very good. We've already talked about future presentations, and if you need a quick refresher on future presentations that we talked about in December, It would be on the minutes in item D, where you can read again. We talked about the following topics: policy, civil rights updates, housing, equity and affordable housing, at-risk population services, LGBT health, safety, youth mental health and inclusivity, disability access, the use of drones. Thank you for that wonderful presentation today. And then there was something else that came up about Palm Springs Unified School District, homelessness issues, and immigrant services. Those were some of the items that we talked about in December, and those will be the topic areas that the commission will be focusing on 2026. So each and every one of us is welcome to bring this into agenda items. As you do the work in the community and you see, I like to bring an update, or I talk to an organization that I would love for them to make a presentation on this particular topic. Each and all these topics support the council's strategic plan. And if anyone needs a copy of the strategic plan, it looks like this. It's a one-pager. And this is what this commission and other boards and commissions will support throughout 2026. So if you need a refresher, this is a document that guides everything we will do moving forward. Any other comments before we move to staff liaison comments? I guess we can move to the staff liaison comments.
All right, a couple quick updates and I'll respond to Commissioner Rinke's question. In terms of future presentations, next month we will have Martha's Village presenting. That'll help with some of the responses to some of the homelessness questions that we've had raised. So I met with their CEO, their new CEO last week, so she and her team will be presenting. I've also reached out to the school district, and it looks like we may be having a representative from the school district at our February meeting. That was in response to one of your inquiries about kind of health and mental wellness issues, so they'll be prepared to respond to those kind of issues and give a presentation, given the direction 15 minutes for presentation Q&A. We have those two coming. In terms of the Community Service Awards, I did a little bit of research, and there was initially 3 members on the ad hoc that we talked about, and Commissioner Strong indicated an interest. And we were unsure, would we have an issue with a 4th person? Does that make it a non-ad hoc? Does it become Brown Act? But I've confirmed that we can add a 4th person. So Malachi won't be a alternate, but will be a full ad hoc committee member. Now that I finally have that information and we have our committee set up, the website should be going live next week to start accepting applications. I'm working with our communications team so that we can put out a press release it'll go out on Engage Palm Springs, and I'm hoping for a more formal press release to get the word out that, hey, we're accepting applications. So that should be going live next week.
So wonderful. So Malachi, them, and Commissioners Rimas, Greer, and Nevins will be overseeing this entire process, the applications, the vetting, the review, the nomination, and then presenting their findings to
I
the
think what we
commission.
discussed at our last meeting was that I would collect all the applications and sort of package them. I'll get them to the ad hoc committee where they'll be able to have a meeting where they can vet the applications and narrow it down to a group that they'll present to the full commission, who will then make the final determination.
Wonderful. So my ask to the ad hoc committee, including Commissioner Strong, would be to work on it, review the applications, find the times to meet and discuss, and then if you can present your findings, if not in February, by March at the latest, so that we can finalize the list of recipients, I think we can still pull this off before the end of spring.
Did we decide on a date for the
That would
I
be a
think
wonderful.
that there were discussions about date, but I think it needs to get pushed back a little bit of time with the amount of time it took us to figure out who can be on the ad hoc committee and going live with the website. I think we're compressing too much if we say, hey, bring it to the February meeting, like we're looking at the March meeting.
That's my gut feeling is,
But let's get it right.
Yeah.
it's gonna be
It's
in
gonna take
March,
at least
and
till
then, at the end of March, the committee communicates with the nominees that have been selected. You'll get their acceptance that, yes, I want to receive this award, or no, thank you, take me off the list. Then it becomes public knowledge, and the city's communications department sends a press release to the public, and then maybe April, hopefully April is the month where we have the awards.
When is
So
the,
the
what's the
nominees-
date for the April meeting? Because usually that's where we would have it, right? Is the April?
No, we
meeting.
used to have it in February.
Right,
Love
but
it.
it would
So,
be, it would be
Hugo,
changed to April.
The nominees, once the ad hoc committees come up with the plan, that gets sent to council and council acts on it.
No, council doesn't act on it. Council just gives us the blessing.
Oh,
These are still awards that this commission gives.
I thought it had changed.
It's not
At one point,
council
didn't the
awards,
council
it's
decide they were
HRC
gonna
awards.
do-
If so, that
I
predates K.
think we're gonna have a
Oh,
real
okay.
tough time making that.
Possible.
You know, there has to be enough time for the public to respond appropriately, because that's where we got screwed up last
So
time.
you guys come up with their recommendations.
Yeah, I think once we see what the thing looks like, then we can probably come up
I'm
with a
hoping
time.
that if we go live in the next week or so, we can open it up for 3, maybe 4 weeks. That gives you
Yeah,
enough time.
if we can keep it such, like 3 weeks, we'll probably be.
Then that
probably
gives the
committed.
the ad hoc committee enough, gives you 3 or 4 weeks to do your
Yep.
review and vetting to get back to this body, the full body at the March meeting. I think that really gives us 2 months from today.
Because these are awards that this commission are giving to the public, right? Organizations, individuals. Each and every one of us can nominate individuals and organizations, removing any conflict of interests that we may have on those nominations. You might have come across a person or organization that you feel very strongly is deserving of a community award, and you would be entirely in your domain as commissioners to say, I'd like this person or this organization to be considered. You'll be able to submit your own nominations, and that is something that is within our domain.
As long as we're not board members.
Well, okay, so,
Organizations.
example, same example. Scott Nevins and I serve on the board of Palm Springs Sister Cities, which happens to be our sister city, right? We have a sister city relationship with San Miguel de Allende. While Scott and I feel very strongly that we've done really good work bringing the city of Palm Springs and the city of San Miguel de Allende together to collaborate, Scott and I would have to recuse on saying, we would like Palm Springs Sister Cities to get an award because of the work they've done with San Miguel de Allende. You could, he could, Bobby could, someone in the public could, but both Scott and I would have to recuse. Also recuse from conversations about whether or not this nomination is worthy because we sit on the board, and that would signal conflict of interest.
What about donors? If one of us is a donor to one of the organizations?
That would be conflict of interest because there's money involved.
Okay.
Could it be a couple?
Yes, couples are, the last time we had a prominent gay couple who've done a lot of work for the community, and I'm blanking. 2 guys that do a lot of great social service. You remember
I
them?
can't remember their names. I know what you mean, I mean,
It'll come to us. But this is a couple, a gay couple that are constantly volunteering for lots of community events and social activities, and they were so worthy of it. So when it comes to money, when it comes to something that you sit as a board member or you're directly in personal conflict, that is a no-no, okay?
What if another board member recommended their organization,
That could be a possibility.
where you are also a board member?
That could be a possibility, but we have to also be careful of removing because I'm a board member and I'd like my
Oh, sure,
organization
yeah,
to
yeah.
receive, as you evaluate those applications, that's gonna be one of your main questions.
But you can recuse yourself from that,
Oh, yeah.
in that, so.
That could be
it
one of your
doesn't- it
main
doesn't-
questions for evaluating, is like,
doesn't
is
preclude you
this
from getting the award. You just
self-serving?
couldn't be- You can't take part in that.
Can this become self-serving,
Yeah, it's all about perception as well.
right?
Very much so.
Not to change the subject, but before we close, do we still have an opening on the board?
There is, yes.
And is there a selected candidate as of yet, or is it still being looked at?
I'm not involved in the selection of the candidates' council decision, the council process, so I'm happy to follow up with our council liaison if you'd like.
Okay, I'd just be curious. Thank you so much.
Jeremy, would it be possible for the ad hoc committee to get a list of the past recipients?
Yes.
And it's all published on the website.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, when we all meet, can we just get the,
You can see all of that. I have one more item,
I can
which
also
is a
tell you
kind of
about
a
all
big
the
item.
programs that we had last time, so
But we haven't talked about
We'll try to
it.
not do that.
We agreed as a commission to send our revisions to the municipal code, to council. And council is supposed to do a reading of this month.
Yes. So that is on the schedule for the first meeting in February.
So they moved it to February.
Yes.
All right. So then we will know what their recommendations are.
And the date of that meeting is,
So if we can get that done this first quarter of the year, I think that would be a major accomplishment.
I don't want to get the date wrong here, so I will send out an
Is it-
email to the group. I believe it's February 11th, but I'll send out an email to the group with the date on that.
Isn't it after the Human Rights Commission, like on the Thursday or something?
I think it might be the Wednesday following.
Yeah.
I think our meeting is Monday, and I think Wednesday is the council date.
So definitely not for us to discuss in February, quite possibly in March. Their recommendations to continue
If
the work.
there's any follow-up, yes.
If there's any follow-up from council, we will probably need to engage that throughout the end of February and then have a discussion in March and send it back to council in March. Understood. Okay. Any additional comments from staff?
Nothing for me.
We're ready to adjourn? We are? I can't thank you enough for this first meeting of the year. It felt so wonderful. The commission will adjourn to a regularly scheduled meeting scheduled on Monday, February 12, 2026. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
MJ, I hope you